Hi, it's Jez here from Nigezza.co.uk, and if you're a new visitor to my videos, then welcome. And if you've come here because you were on the Pootles blog hop yesterday and you saw my project, which is this, and you've logged on because you want to see the video tutorial, then I'm delighted. If you're happened upon me by chance, welcome too, and if you're a returning visitor, I really appreciate it. Okay, so Pootles block hop, all the team, well not all the team, but a lot of the members of the team got together and we all made projects using new items to showcase new items. So I think it's probably about 25, nearly 30 people on the blog hop. So that's lots and lots of projects for you to look at if you want to see the new catalogue. So if you click on the link below to my blog, for this there'll be a link to the blog hop, so you can go and take a look at that. So I made this album using the Share What You Love paper, absolutely stunning DSP, and I used a variety of stamps and dies to decorate it. It's a magnetic closure there and it opens up. I've used one sheet of DSP to make this, and we've got pockets and tags and lots of areas where you can put photos. These could be photo mats or journaling. You can put little photos on there. Same on this side. That's an area for photos, and inside here, lift it up, you've got a place for a gift card if you want to put a gift card. So I thought this was a lovely way of doing a present. Maybe somebody's got a big birthday and you're giving them a gift card. It could be a group of you that have clubbed together to give somebody a huge present, and you've filled this with photos of memories of times that you've had together. So stay tuned and I will show you how I made this gorgeous album. Okay, so when making this album, you had to consider the paper, because you don't want it to be directional, because it's going to be folded up, folded round, etc. So when looking at this lovely paper, I realised that these two you wouldn't be able to use because they're directional and you don't want the flowers to end up upside down. So if you did want to use these, then you would be able to make the album in exactly the same way that I'm making it today, in a plain coloured cardstock, and then mat it with these, and then you'd be able to cut them out and stick them on so they would be directional. So that would be one way of doing it with a directional pattern. This one I could have used, it's non-directional. I decided against it because the other side is directional, although you could have got away with it with this, but I also felt that the colours were not very complementary to each other, and I didn't think that would add to the look I was going for, so I dismissed that. This one I dismissed for the same sort of reason. I didn't like the way the two sides kind of conflicted with each other. So then I got to these two, and both of these would be okay. I like the busyness of this side, and I like the not so busy on that side, which is sort of perfect for putting photos on. And equally this one as well, this is sort of non-directional and the other side is nice and plain. So I could have gone for either one of these, and I have chosen this one because it's got rich raspberry in it and I loves that. Okay, so that's the one I chose, and I kind of looked at the colours that were in it so that I could know instantly which cardstock colour to use. So it's rich raspberry, mossy meadow, oud olive, crumb cake, whisper white and basic black. So those will be the colours that I'll be using for sort of mats and decoration. Okay, so let's get on with the scoring. Okay, so you're going to very simply, to begin with, just score 4 and 8. I don't know if you're like me and it's like beautiful paper, you're using a whole sheet. Do you get a bit nervous and you're thinking, I don't want to mess it up? I'm a bit like that. Okay, and then we'll turn it 90 degrees, and on this side you're going to score at 3, 3 1/4, 6 1/4, 6 1/2, and 9 1/2. And that's the scoring done for now. I don't know if you can see it. All the measurements will be on my blog, as usual, nigezza.co.uk. Now we are going to do one more score line, but before we do that, we're going to cut these 2 rectangles out. Now you could do it on your trimmer if you wanted an accurate cut, or you can just be brave and go ahead with a pair of scissors, which is what I'm doing. I've got some long blade scissors, so you get a fairly good straight line, and stop at that score line and cut down. This is making our flap over for our book. We're going to keep these. These are going to be sort of for mats and pockets on the inside. We're not wasting any of this beautiful cardstock. So again, cut down there, cut up there. I've had this paper quite a while, and I have been waiting to use it. Now I'm going to just trim a little bit more because I've not quite got that where I want it. Yes, I have sat and stroked it for a bit, as you do. Or is that just me? I don't think it's just me. I really don't. Right, now we're going to put that back in, and these have all got 2 1/4 inch bits, which is allowing for your folding over and the bulk. So we need to do the same on this to come over, but we need it to be a little bit more than 1/4 inch because it's going to have that extra bulk. So we're going to go down at 2 1/8. So we've got an extra 1/8, and we're just going to score there. And that's it. That's all our scoring. We can get rid of the scoreboard now. Okay, so we are going to do some more cutting, and we want to cut out those little 1/4 inch bits on each side. So we're just going to cut up those. Because this cardstock, this paper is like cardstock, you can make this album just with it. If you were using, that one I've overcut slightly, never mind. If you were using a thinner DSP, then I would do exactly what I'm doing now in one of the 12 by 12 sheets of cardstock and mat with the thinner paper. That would be how I would do it. And we've now got 12 by 12 in every colour except basic black, which is a shame. I like 12 by 12 basic black, but whichever you like. Now we're just going to fold and burnish all those sections. No, we're not. We're going to do some chopping again. Missed a bit. So some of these pockets are going to get cut down, and I am going to bring my trimmer in for that. So that's the top. So we want to cut this middle pocket here. We want to cut 2 inches off it. So if we put this to 2 inches at the top here, that means this will be 2 inches down here, but it's this middle one that we want to slice off. And we'll save that. And then on the other side, we want to cut the bottom section. We want to cut 2 inches off that. So we can bring our arm out, put that on the 10. And we'll cut 2 inches off there. We'll get it straight. You could just do this freehand with your scissors if you wanted to. Okay, and then we're going to cut 1 inch off this bit. This is going to be our pocket, so we want to cut 1 inch off this bit. So if we go to 11, we'll cut 1 inch off there, like so. There will be a template on my blog with all the instructions, and then these top bits we just want to get a sliver off so that they can fold in. So I'm just taking tiny little sliver off each side, not really measuring, just needs to have a little sliver because they're staying full sized, and so when they fold in, you don't want it to get caught. Okay, so that is all the trimming done, and now we just need to fold and burnish all of these edges. Okay, I made a slight boob in that this pocket is going to be upside down. This was how I wanted the pocket to be on my prototype. If you have a look at my prototype, it opens up and the pocket's there for a gift card, and I've actually, if you have a look, done it the opposite way round. So I'm going to persevere and do it this way because I've cut it now and I don't want to waste it, and we just might have a pocket with a long arm, but that's okay. Right, I'm going to round a few corners. And all the corners are rounded. Now we have got some of our offcuts, and these are going to make pockets. I'm going to open my prototype so I remember where I put the pockets. So I'm putting a pocket here, and that was going to go down as a pocket, but I think I'm going to put a pocket at the bottom there to match it. And I might put a sentiment there, and then we've got a nice big photo mat there. That's going down to be, and then we've got these sections here that we cut off. And I'm just going to trim it slightly because I took a smidge off for this to close over for a pocket, and I'm just going to cut them diagonally. And so we're going to have a diagonal pocket there. I shall trim the end off there, and the other diagonal pocket's going to go on this side, and it folds up, so it'll be the other way. And then I was going to put a diagonal pocket on the back of this as well. And then when this closes over, you're going to have a pocket on the back there as well, and that's what we're using the other one for. I'm going to cut this one in half so that we've got a 2-inch rectangular pocket to go. Okay, so now I'm going to start gluing in the pockets. I like to use the liquid glue on mini albums, or any album for that matter. So I want to get a really thin bead around the edge of this. And glue it in place. Wet glue will dry, so you've got less chance of stickiness transferring onto whatever you stick in your pocket. Okay, so I've made a pocket on this back bit, and I'm going to match that on this bit. Let's put that away because that would be stuck down. Okay, so what I've simply done is I've taken a bit of crumb cakes, that matches beautifully. This is 2 by 3, some rich raspberry, some matte on it, which is 1 3/4 by 2 3/4, and then trim the DSP down to 1.5 by 2.5. All the measurements will be on my blog. So using a bit of Tombow, so we got a bit of wigglage, and I just think that this looks lovely, and I think I've turned, as often happens, as they say, there are no mistakes in crafting, just happy little accidents, and I actually think that these pockets look better. So I might, if I did this again, do this sort of thing for the pockets for all of them, because I think that's dead pretty, and you get to see both sides of this DSP. And of course, if you were doing it in cardstock anyway and matting it because you wanted to use one of the papers that are directional, this is the sort of thing that you could do. There we go. And then that folds up. Okay, so now let's do some more of the decoration and adding some embellishments to this, and I'll show you how I'm doing the magnets. Okay, so I've been really busy cutting lots and lots of things out to embellish the little album with. So I've used this lovely ribbon punch. You've seen me use it before, and so I've made quite a few of these to trim the edges of the pockets. I've used the Petals and More, and I've cut a couple of these, and then I've used the big leaf, and I've used the flower as well. I've used my stitch framelets, and I've used the seasonal pinlets, and what I've used in this are the flowers. So I basically stamped lots and lots of the flowers and then cut them out. and you might think, gosh, that's an awful lot. But actually, we had a team live call yesterday evening, and I did it whilst listening to the team live call, so it was fine. You could have done it whilst watching telly. I've used the stamp here, May Life Be Filled with Fond Memories. So as well as all the flowers here, I've used Life is a Beautiful Thing as well as a lovely sentiment in the album. And then from Ribbon of Courage, I've used Live Every Moment, Laugh Every Day and Love With All Your Heart, which I thought lovely sentiment for a little memory book. And in this, I've used the Treat Yourself for the pocket with the gift card, and I've also used Celebrate the Good Stuff. Okay, because this is all about lovely, lovely memories. And I've used the leaf punch as well, the leaf stamp rather, and then the leaf punch to punch out some leaves. And I've used this stamp here and that stamp there as well. So those are all the elements, and rather than you watch me cut them all out, I'll just show you how I'm going to put them in the album. So we're going to do, I've left that there to remind myself of where I wanted it. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to do it with the magnet closures. So I've got these magnets that are stuck to my pen. So I've got these, can't remember where I got them from, eBay. Spider magnets is ringing a bell in my head. So I've got some tiny, tiny ones and some bigger ones, and they're all not very deep, so really, really strong and perfect for going through a couple of layers of cardstock to hold things in place. So I'm gonna stick this one on first. That's the embellishment I've made for in there. So I just got a bit of crumb cake. All of them are stamped onto crumb cake, and I've used rich raspberry. And there you can see I actually cut up the leaves from the leaf punch, and that's the petal palette flower there, just to sort of frame it. And then I'm going to stick that on there. Okay, so I've stamped that sentiment, cut it out with a stitch framelit, did a scalloped circle to mass it, and I just think that's beautiful. And I'm going to stick the magnet in between these two to help that stick down. So I'm going to put that one on first, so then I know where to position it on the top. Okay, I'm going to take one of these, easier said than done. I'm going to take one of the big fat ones because it's holding quite a lot. There is the glue dot there. I'm going to rip that off because otherwise I think I've got loads of glue dots. So I'm going to put it on the outside of that. Because I'm going to overlap onto there. So now I'm just going to stick this to that. Actually might move it in ever so slightly. A bit too close to the edge there. Make a bit of Tombow for the wigglage. Stick that down around that magnet. There we go. And then going to glue these down around there. Stick this in place. Sort of centre it. I just love how all these colours and these elements go beautifully together. That is why I love Stampin' Up, because of the colour coordination, and it does make a difference to your projects when they all match lovely like this. There we go. And then I'm going to stick that one along there. So that is my first page decorated. So now what I need to do is stick that about there. That's about central. Find the other magnet. Now we want to, there. That's where we want it to be. I'm going to stick a glue dot on the back of that. So that I can stick everything on. Before I do that, I want that leaf to go under like that, so I'm just going to stick a bit of glue on that so that it goes out there. Put my tumbler around this. And go over the top. Like so. Now I'm going to put back in place, and what I need to know is where I am going to put the glue on this side, because it doesn't want to be all of it. So I'm going to move it slightly out and put a bit of a mark along there. So I know to put glue just to that point there. I prefer to use a pencil, I just didn't have one to hand. Okay. So the magnet will find its place. And we will glue that down. And yeah, just a little bit overlap there. Wipe that off. And that's that glued down. Let's put it flat for now. just going to stick some flowers along here. Like so. Yep. So there we have it. So that's our front of our book, and then it will just open up there to have the first side. Now what I've done, I want to bling it up a bit, is some of our basic pearls. I've coloured them with our blends to add a little bit of extra goodness to this. So because these are the front, they can be, doesn't matter that it's raised a bit. You don't want to put these on the inside because they could end up digging into your photos, but it's all right on the front. So I'm just going to put some of these around that as well. And there we have it. That's the front decorated. Don't want it on the bottom. And then I did think that rather than have a plain back, that I'm going to stick these leaves, and I'm going to randomly stick some flowers on the back here. Not that one, I didn't stamp it very well. So I've stuck that down, and then I decided to put a bit of Wink of Stella on it and a bit of the ink bled, but that kind of matches the background, so I'm just putting some Wink of Stella on this final flower because the paper's pearlescent in areas, so I thought this would kind of match that a bit. So that's the back and that's the front. I'm not putting Wink of Stella on the front because I've got the pearls, so that's that bit. So now we need to go and do the inside. So I've already, as you can see, I just cut a piece of cardstock here. This is 1 1/4 inches by 3.5. I will put all the measurements on my blog, but you know, you can choose yourself how you would do it. So these are the flowers from Petal Palette. So you can see they're, although they're similar shape to some of these, they are slightly different. And then I teamed it up with the leaves and cut the leaves up to frame that sentiment there. So that I'm just sticking on the inside cover. Put a few dots on these extras so they don't get too dog-eared over time. So that should hopefully be dry now. So opening up that, and this is going there. So I've done some of the decoration on the inside, and I'm going to show you some of it. So on these back pockets here, you saw me make those pockets. So I have made 4 tags like this. These are just 2 inches by 3.5 and used the tag topper punch, and then I stamped the leaf and added a couple of flowers. And then that side you can do some writing and you could put photo there, you can put in photos, you can do whatever you want to fill this album. And then I'm going to show you how I'm going to do that pocket. So on these slanted corner ones, I've used that ribbon punch there to edge it. I thought it needed something, and then I just made these mats. These could have photos, you could have journaling, you can put photo there, and these are just simply corner rounded, and this is 2 1/4 by 3 1/4, and they fit in there quite lovely. I will be doing a magnet closure like I did before, so I'm going to stick that on there, and I will be fastening it with a magnet, which I'm going to hide underneath that flower in the same way as I did the front. I'm going to show you how I made these tags, and then when we open this out, I'm going to put these along the corner there, but the idea is these are going to be nice big photo mat there, and then I've just put life is a beautiful thing, and I've cut up the big leaf. I'm leaving that there, gift card in there, leave that for a photo or whatever, and then they could put the receipt of what they buy with it in there. Okay, so I'm going to show you how I made those, and the trim is just cut down, and I'm just going to stick it to there. So I'm going to just use a bit of Tombow, and I just put it along this sort of solid edge there, just a little thin bead of it to catch the end, to give a nice edge to that diagonal pocket. And the same, well, that's not the bit for that one. Well, the same for that one. I can't find the bit that I'd cut up for that. And then these, I just put a bit of glue on the back of my hand. Just sometimes I forget I've got this glue on the back of my hand. If I don't clean it off straight away, and then it goes sort of all black, and I end up with this strange sort of bruise type look on the back of my hand. And it's just glue, but sometimes you get a little bit of extra special treatment if someone thinks you've been bruised. And I quite often have bruises on the back of my hand because I have to have 6 weekly now blood tests, and I have to have the blood took out the back of my hand because that's the only place I've got any veins, and they often blow, so I do often have bruises on the back of my hand. So it's not unusual, except it is unusual for it to be this hand, because that's the hand they take the blood out of. But hey ho. So that is just to give it a little bit of decoration. Obviously that'll get covered up if you're going to put a photo in there. Okay, so let's move them out the way whilst we do our decorations on these. We need the old olive ink and the leaf there, and all I did was ink this up, put it across, like so, and then the other one, I took the top of it off first so that I knew where it was. because we don't want to take the top of the leaves off. And just stuck that like that. Love that effect, and it just ties in with the leaves on the paper. And then I just picked out a couple of flowers to decorate it with, and stuck them down, and then I rounded the corners on that one as well, non-sticky. So what I've done here is I finished these off, rounded the corners on each of them, so they're lovely, and stuck that down. Right, so what I've done here is I've just stuck that overlapping a bit, and I've stuck that magnet down to there, stuck the leaves down, and I'm just going to use a glue dot and stick that flower on top of the magnet with a glue dot. Like so. And then I'm going to get another magnet I keep the magnet still in the plastic bag because I didn't once, and I stuck them somewhere that was metal, and I actually lost them for ages, so I didn't want that to happen again. So that's found its place there. So I'm going to put a glue dot on the back so that it sticks to the top mat, like so. And then I'm just going to get some Tombow, and I just did treat yourself and stuck some decoration down on it. And I'm just going to stick that down and hold it for a second for the Tombow to take. And that's it. So there we have it. My lovely flip out one-page album with a hidden gift inside. Okay, so this is me showing off the new products. The new product that I'm showing off is the paper. Everything else was already in the catalogue. Hope you enjoyed that. Hope you will carry on with the blog and hop around if you haven't already yesterday. Go over to my blog and you'll be able to, follow the links to my shop if you want to buy this gorgeous paper, or indeed anything else that I've used to make this. Okay, see you again soon.